Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. Sister Wives eagerly anticipated tell-all episodes have finally aired. And following his recent appearance on part 1 of their union, Kody Brown, the patriarch of the Brown family, did himself no favors. After a mid-season pause that provided the show with the necessary depth to deal with the devastating death of Garrison Brown, Sister Wives Season 19 has finally concluded. After the season finale, the group and host Suki Krishnan typically sit down for the show's tell-all interviews, which are like a reunion for TLC. Previously, Robyn Brown, Kody Brown, Janelle Brown, Meri Brown, and Kody would all show up together to discuss the season. However, because Meri, Janelle, and Kody have split from Kody, they each made an appearance separately to provide their perspectives on the previous season. The first half of the tell-all interview broadcast on May 25th. Prior to the show, viewers were informed that at the family's request, they would not be talking about Garrison's death at the tell-alls. After a couple difficult seasons, Kody's actions on the tell-all did little to improve his reputation. With host Suki, Kody lost his temper. Kody reacted angrily several times for fans of Sister Wives. Seeing Kody lose his temper on camera is nothing new. But it has become much more frequent since 3 of Kody's marriages ended. When 3 of his 4 wives chose to divorce him, Kody, let's say, did not take it well. Throughout the divorces, Kody has acted defiantly, saying nasty things like, "I never loved any of my wives except Robyn," among other things. "I'm walking around like I love this woman and I want peace in this relationship, but I'm to the point where I'm walking around flipping 2 birds because I am so sick and tired of being guilt for loving Robyn." TLC released a video from The Tell-All, in which Kody attacks Suki for attempting to justify his love for Robyn. Kody is obviously still upset about being rejected by Meri, Kody, and Janelle, and he is using his relationship with Robyn to defend himself from being the bad guy in the family. He played the victim by claiming that he and Robyn had been *****HS slapped for their love and that he was sick of it. Kody made a few contradictory statements. Meri and Suki call Kody out. Kody reacted angrily when Suki pointed out that he had contradicted himself by claiming that he was attempting to make all of his relationships with his wives unpair with his relationship with Robyn, but then claiming that he couldn't love them all in the same way because they're all different people. Kody advised her to try it and see how it works out for her when Suki mentioned that you can't love one wife more in a polygamous marriage. It was rude of him to respond to Suki in this way. In a different moment, Meri called out Kody's hypocritical behavior for denying her the spiritual release she desired following her divorce. Meri remembered that Kody would always claim that his religious convictions prevented him from divorcing his wife. However, when it came to ending their marriage in the eyes of their church, Kody said he no longer adhered to that religion and didn't want to grant Meri the release. When it comes to Kody, it's a double standard, which is sometimes expected. Kody is unable to accept responsibility for the breakdown of his marriage to Meri. Meri and Kody have differing views. Kody generally has trouble being responsible. It's hard to be accountable for things you're saying in a passionate moment. At least he can accept that he's not taking responsibility for his comments when Suki questions him about his remarks about never loving Meri, Janelle, and Kody. He also acknowledged that he thought he was fostering all of his connections at the time, but now he realizes that he wasn't. Meri and Kody had rather different perspectives on the breakdown of his marriage. According to Meri, their religion gave her a spiritual release based on abandonment, a term Kody strongly objected to. But when they look back on their final years together, Kody disclosed that Meri had kicked him out of their house because she was having an affair with a catfish online. He said that he never returned, which she saw as abandonment, but he claimed that the catfishing episode served as the catalyst. Here, it's simple to see both sides of their debate. Meri and Kody's relationship was undoubtedly altered by her catfishing incident, but Kody was emotionally checked out when he chose to stay married to her at the time. Both of them are to blame. Although he didn't plan to work on it with Meri, Kody stayed in the marriage, giving her optimism that their relationship would eventually improve. When she wanted to end the marriage, he rejected her and became irate and obstinate. Kody Brown off. Sister Wives receives criticism for a startling remark regarding the distinction between mothers and fathers. Kody Brown of Sister Wives drew flack for his viewpoint as he described them, any ways that men and mothers show their love for their kids. In the early 1990s, Kody married Meri, Janelle, and Christine Brown in an attempt to establish a polygamous family. Kody had 13 children over the years, 1 with Meri, 6 with Christine, and 6 with Janelle. Prior to Robyn Brown's arrival, he was regarded as the Brown family's loyal patriarch. The Sister Spouses Season 19 star neglected his obligations to his other family with his first 3 spouses, as his attention was drawn to Robyn. Kody's recent remark regarding the distinction between a mother's and a father's love for their children hasn't helped his case, and he is now being held accountable for his family's disintegration. In a message to a Sister Wives fan that at Sucker for Reality reposted, Kody acknowledged that he was envious of mothers who love their kids unconditionally, while fathers are frequently expected to demonstrate tough love. He also added, they listen instead of trying to fix the problems like dads do. Nevertheless, a lot of fans took offense at his remarks and attacked him in the comment section. One Redditor at Orangeba22 commented, "He peeped out, instead of working on his ability to love without condition." Another Redditor at Hegelium added, "Everything that he can do is because of some set of circumstances beyond his control." The implications of Kody Brown's remarks for his relationship with his children. The distance between Kody and his kids has widened. Between 2021 and 2023, Kody was in a monogamous relationship with Robyn after Meri, Janelle, and Christine split from him. Following the split, Kody began to turn away from his kids. He wanted an apology from his adult children, whom he felt did not respect Robyn. His children's relationship further soured when they refused to apologize. Kody hardly ever spoke to his kids, and the family stopped spending Christmas together. While some of his children didn't even get a call from him on their birthdays, he lavished Robyn's kids with gifts and affection. Kody's recent remarks have widened the emotional gap between him and his grown children by arguing that mothers have an inborn unconditional love for their children, while fathers must develop it. He appeared to be trying to defend his lack of intimacy with them. He seems to be avoiding accountability by portraying fatherhood as inherently less caring. Regretfully, his comments will only cause his children and himself to grow more emotionally distant. Although Kody is likely aware that his children will not approve of his contentious remarks, he no longer appears to be interested in making amends. Our analysis of their action to Kody Brown's remark regarding parents. Kody is charged with fostering negative gender stereotypes. Kody is frequently viewed as the antagonist on Sister Wives, and his recent comments might have further tarnished his reputation. He was chastised by many Sister Wives watchers for reinforcing negative gender stereotypes. They also talked about their own fathers who were equally as scaring as their moms. Kody probably tried to use antiquated ideas about parenting to defend his lack of emotional ties to his older children. Fans of Sister Wives may have good reason to criticize Kody for ignoring fathers who are constantly there for their kids emotionally. After a season filled with separation, grief, and unresolved issues, the eagerly awaited reunion specials for the most recent chapter of the Brown family saga have finally been revealed, providing an intimate look at the emotional devastation left behind. Each of the key players in the family's broken web made explosive confrontations, heartfelt observations, and intensely intimate confessions during the recent gathering, which was moderated by an experienced interviewer renowned for her incisive yet sympathetic style. In the past, all of the partners were sitting together for the end-of-season interviews, where they candidly discussed the previous few months in often awkward but essential ways. But the most recent episode went in a different direction, with each family member opting to express their viewpoint alone. Their emotional divide has become too great for them to be together. The show opened with a somber warning to viewers that the recent tragic loss of a beloved son will not be discussed during these chats for the family's wishes. The patriarch was obviously unprepared for the attention from the very first time he stepped onto the screen. Instead of softening his position, time has apparently made him more defiant. His tone was harsh, his stance stiff, and his frustration scarcely disguised. His emotional instability was evident, especially when he was questioned about the significant changes in his once plural household. When the presenter asked the family head to consider his changing priorities and expressions of affection, the emotional breakdown started. In a scathing reply, he claimed that his detractors were punishing him for his feelings for his lone surviving spouse. He lamented the criticism he received for being open about his feelings, portraying himself as the one who was misinterpreted following his former wife desertion. His outburst during a conversation about emotional fairness was especially startling. The host pointed out a contradiction in his statements. One minute, he asserted, that he had sought to have equal affection in all of his relationships, and the next, he maintained that this was not possible because each person was different. He responded sarcastically to this paradox, rejecting the challenge and quietly making fun of the host for bringing it up. The interview abruptly veered toward discomfort, and the tension in the room was evident. One of his ex-partners made her own complaints later in the show. She described how he eventually refused a request for a formal closure when she requested release from their spiritual union, even though he had previously claimed that their shared faith forbade spiritual separation. She said his refusal was just another example of him changing his convictions to fit his own agenda. She pointed out that he denied her closure while no longer adhering to the same spiritual principles, which she saw as a clear double standard. Once more, the topic of conversation turned to the emotional fallout from their failing relationship. His response to the question of whether he had ever loved the women who were now gone from him was half admitted and half deflective. He admitted that his statements made during tense situations lacked responsibility. According to him, he used to think he was taking care of all of his relationships, but in retrospect, he realized he wasn't. Additional insights emerged as he dug more into the breakdown of his relationship with his first spiritual partner. Citing abandonment, she clarified that her religious society had officially released her from their spiritual union. The patriarch was offended by this designation and hurried to change the message. He cited a previous scandal, a case of digital deceit, involving a false identity as the turning point that destroyed confidence. He said he was forced out of their shared house during that event and never came back. However, neither side wanted to acknowledge how complex the story was. The relationship was undoubtedly damaged by the deception, but the true anguish resulted from the extended emotional separation that ensued. Even though he decided to stay legally and spiritually tied, he emotionally distanced himself, making her think that they could get back together when in reality he had no desire to do so. When she held on to her dwindling optimism, she was faced with apathy disguised as religious duty. Layers of misunderstandings, unresolved resentment, and unhealed scars were revealed throughout the show. Their union's other sections explored topics of spiritual hypocrisy, partiality, and emotional neglect. Every member contributed a distinct viewpoint, influenced by their individual experiences, but rooted in a common feeling of disappointment and loss. Once united under the banner of unity, their stories now reverberated independently, each voice bearing a fragment of the truth. As the interviews went on, the patriarch's manner became more defensive. His formerly unwavering convictions seemed more like moving targets, rigid when challenged, flexible when advantageous. Viewers could plainly see the emotional toll his judgments had placed on all parties. Therefore, his attempts to defend them frequently failed. Conveniently ignoring his part in the emotional breakdown of each relationship, he portrayed himself as the victim of betrayal. His flaws weren't the only thing the reunion brought to light. For all those involved, it acted as a mirror, reflecting back the decisions, sacrifices, and errors that brought them to this shattered present. With a fresh clarity, the women who had earlier accompanied him on a spiritual journey spoke. Even though their remarks were filled with grief, they were infused with the fortitude of people who had started to move past the shadow of a relationship that no longer worked for them. There was no tidy conclusion, no heartfelt reconciliation, and most definitely no assurances of repaired relationships as the show came to a close. Rather, the unvarnished truth was exposed for everyone to see, in their own unique ways. Each member made progress toward reclaiming their story, which was now characterized by their own development since deciding to become independent rather than by the patriarch at the center. Future discussions, and perhaps even future episodes, will be impacted by the reunion's consequences. However, one point was made very clear. The Brown household's days of unchallenged power are finished. A new chapter built on integrity, self-worth, and the guts to leave when love becomes controlling will take its place. In Avery Divisive Development, the main character, once seen as the unwavering head of a large multiple family, has sparked a flurry of criticism due to his opinions on the divergent emotional duties of fathers and mothers. This man, who was once admired as the emotional pillar of a special domestic arrangement, is now feeling more and more cut off from both the audience of his televised trip and many of the grown children he assisted in raising. The patriarch at the center of this enduring family drama caused a stir when he presented an open, albeit contentious assessment of the differences between paternal and maternal affections. His confession, which was first shared with a fan before being uploaded on other social media sites, exposed his inner fears about how fathers, including himself, are frequently expected to show their concern in more practical, detached ways. He continued by saying he was envious of the seemingly endless love women give their kids and asserting that fathers are supposed to be more about finding answers than offering consolation. These remarks may have been an attempt to defend or perhaps explain his parenting approach. They hit a nerve instead. Many interpreted his remarks as a means of justifying years of apparent emotional detachment rather than as reflective reflection, especially in the aftermath of his marriage breakdowns. When he first started his journey into plural marriage, the man's early aspirations of creating a peaceful home full of cooperation, respect, and fun appeared doable. In the early years of his adult life, he welcomed his first 3 wives, each of whom added nuance and complexity to the dynamics of the family. This unusual arrangement eventually produced a sizable and lively family with numerous boys and girls, each with their own needs, goals, and father-child ties. He balanced his obligations with vigor and enthusiasm for a considerable amount of time. Many viewers appreciated the family sense of unity, the joyous celebration of birthdays, and the proud sharing of milestones. However, when a new wife joined the picture, that harmony started to wane. The dynamics changed when she arrived. What was once a network of equal alliances gradually changed into an imbalance that was unavoidable as his focus seemed to focus. Discord was sown by this subtle but evident preference. Once the backbone of the home, the founding partners started to feel marginalized. Their worries were frequently downplayed or ignored. They were left out of discussions that once focused on unity and long-term goals in favor of pragmatic considerations. Each of the first wives eventually reached her breaking point. One by one, they're treated due to feelings of abandonment, emotional exhaustion, and the recognition that their needs were no longer as important. Their departures caused an emotional gap within the larger family. In addition to severing the marriage ties, the older children found it difficult to understand their father's decisions because many of them had grown up experiencing both the highs and lows of this unusual home. Their father, who had been there, became increasingly distant. It was easy to discern who stayed in his circle and who'd been pushed to the periphery when holidays passed without a phone call and when gifts were lavishly given to some while conspicuously absent for others. His remark that fathers must use tough love because moms are inherently more loving did little to heal these wounds. If anything, it made them deeper. He appeared to be evading responsibility by characterizing his emotional detachment as a biological necessity rather than a human shortcoming. His words were quickly criticized for their harmful consequences. He unintentionally disregarded the innumerable instances of fathers who are incredibly affectionate, emotionally available, and involved in their children's lives by perpetuating the myth that males must be emotionally aloof in order to be good fathers. These fathers exemplify both discipline and nurturing. They do not view them as mutually exclusive. Fans of the family program, which had chronicled the highs and lows of this unusual household for several seasons, took to various platforms to voice their dissatisfaction. Stories of men horsisted the very story the patriarch now appeared to accept, of grandfathers who gracefully assumed major caregiving responsibilities, and of single fathers who reared their children with warmth and sensitivity were all abundant. Meanwhile, the fallout from his remarks started to spread across the shattered household. His remarks confirmed the suspicions of the children who already felt alienated, that their father's remoteness wasn't coincidental, but rather a result of his beliefs. It was another nail in the coffin for some, as their relationship had been failing for years. The wife who stuck by him spoke up for him, providing background information and trying to diffuse the criticism. She talked about his intense need to be understood and the constant strain he had to maintain the family stability, particularly in the face of public attention. Her remarks, however, had little effect on the mounting criticism. The timing of the remark, in addition to its content, is what many find offensive. It happened at a time when trust could have been restored, when bridges were still standing, albeit unsteady. Rather, it seemed to be a rejection, a unwillingness to accept the suffering his absence had brought about. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Get more updates daily. See you soon.